Hi beautiful friends, and welcome back to Mother Knits. My name is Catherine Live and I am coming to you from a home that we recently bought and moved into. This was my grandmother's home. It was her grandmother's father's home. So this home has been in our family for over 100 years, and it's just been so fun to make it our own and share that journey with you and share what I'm making. And today I have a really special project that I want to showcase, and I'm so close to finishing it. So I wanted to take you along the journey of finishing this pretty big project, because this is a total love, it's a joy of a project, and it has a lot of like new baby energy in it. I bought this yarn and it is quite thin on Etsy. Back in the day when I was shopping for yarn for the Helen Stewart 24 Birds cowl that I did, and I made a video all about that shawl. I ended up not using this yarn because it wasn't quite right for that project. But I bought 3 beautiful skeins of alpaca yarn from a hand dyer in Texas. I will put her info in the description. And I believe she used plants to dye these yarns as well. I could be mistaken on that, but if my memory serves me correctly, these are plant dyed alpaca, almost lace weight. I think this might be, I mean, the camera's being a little bit funny, but it's pretty thin. It's pretty thin. I don't have one of those gauges that will like tell you, well, I guess I have some mohair here. This is truly lace weight, right? Okay, so it's like a very light fingering, right? Because here's true lace weight. And then we've got that one. So pretty close, pretty thin. Pretty thin. And so I have these 3 colors that I've been working into this gorgeous piece. Now, this is the Edinburgh Lanes shawl by Helen Stewart. Helen Stewart really has a gift for shawls, in my opinion. I enjoy her working from her patterns so much. So this pattern was actually sent out to her email list for free forever ago. She was just sort of like in one of those generous moods, and here's a free pattern I'm sending out to my email subscribers today. You know, thank you for being an email subscriber. And I was like, downloaded immediately, added to my Ravelry immediately. And it is just a really kind of basic, I mean, just like a staple. It's just a good staple, and it's a pattern that I'm really happy to have, and one that I could see myself returning to and knitting on this again. This, aside from the striping, has been a kind of travel-friendly project. Shawls are not the most travel-friendly projects, I guess. It just depends on your lifestyle. But I would say I actually this has been kind of my on-the-go project. And so I bought the yarn when I was super duper pregnant, like almost going into labor, and for that 24 Birds cowl again. And I knit up this yarn into that, and I just didn't like the way that it was looking. So that all got ripped out. I got new yarn, started that project again, and finished that cowl. Now I've had this gorgeous yarn, and I do not like yarn to sit in my stash. It bothers me. So I was looking through, you know, what patterns do I have? What could I do with this yarn? And this shawl fit the bill. And I just started knitting on it, and I knew when I started knitting on it, it wasn't going to be for me. And the more I started knitting on this, I knew there was a special friend in my life that this was going to go to. And I actually went and visited her in Texas just a few weeks ago, and with my little baby boy. And it was so sweet to catch up. And I brought this project because it's a shawl, and because these colors are quite soft. I just wanted to show it to her, and it was over her birthday, and I wanted to make sure that out of the things that I could knit her, I wanted to see if she resonated with this project, with receiving this project. And that sort of takes the romance out of it, I guess. Like it could have been so beautiful to just go ahead and trust my gut and knit up this project and send it to her in the mail. I don't know, I guess I'm just not in that arena of confidence yet with my making and gifting big projects like this. So she did get a sneak peek of it, but I am, let's see, almost somewhere between 85% and 90% done with this project. So I thought you could come along with me, help me finish up knitting this project, and let's get it in the mail to my friend so that she can enjoy it. And with her being in Texas, I think it's just the perfect project or perfect thing, because once it's blocked, can you imagine? It's just going to be really light and like the perfect thing to put on in a summer evening. So let's go ahead and get this project finished up and cast it off and block it, and come along with me as we finish this one up. Process of casting this off yesterday, and I finished it up this morning, blocked it, wrote my little note to my friend, and the final step is to share some of my thoughts with you about this pattern while it's in my hands, and then we're going to mail it off to my beloved girlfriend who's going to be receiving this. So I have to say, I've noticed a pattern, pun intended. I've noticed a little bit of a pattern with myself that last summer, I kind of like spontaneously, or just like without thinking, found myself knitting a shawl by Helen Stewart in her cowl, in her 24 birds knit along, that big beautiful circular shawl that I made a video about. And this summer I didn't even think about this. It was just something that I casted on one day, and here we go. And now I've got this huge project. Sometimes I take on these really big projects without realizing what I'm in for, or that this project I'm embarking on is going to be substantial as far as a time commitment, I don't always think that through. Sometimes I just jump into a project because in this case, I had 3 skeins of beautiful light fingering weight yarn, and it matched up to this pattern that I've always wanted to knit on. And so here we are, the Edinburgh Shawl. I'll put the name on the screen, by Helen Stewart, and it is a very, very cozy knit. Most of this pattern is knit in garter stitch, and the lace work that is done is very, very approachable. It would be a very easy first time with lace work kind of project. I think this is a adventurous beginner knit for sure, but you gotta have the endurance for all of the stitches here. So I will link the yarn that I used for this project. It is a hand-dyed yarn that I found on Etsy, hand-dyed in Texas. It's alpaca, 100% alpaca. It is incredibly soft. This is, especially after blocking it and just bringing it out or back in from the sunshine, it just feels pretty amazing. I mean, the drape on this, you guys can see, I've been moving it around. You can see that it's quite lovely. I'm really satisfied to see this complete. So all that is left to do, my friends, is I just need to trim my ends off, trim the yarn ends. I did keep those in. I wove them in, then I blocked the shawl, and I actually had to use the concrete outside, and it was sort of the best place for this. I don't have an area at the moment where I could have blocked and pinned something of this size. So the concrete worked because that grip of the rough texture of the concrete almost like held the fibers in place on my behalf. And I maybe could have stretched it out even a bit more. I wanted it to be as big and as open of a knit as possible. And maybe I could have done that if I would have had a huge blocking mat and pins all the way around it. But I guess I just didn't feel it was necessary for this project, and I felt, let's just get it done with what I have right out the door, which is a warm sidewalk. And that worked just fine. I put my patio chairs in the corner and an outdoor candle on the end, and it worked out. It was okay. And then I just hung it on the clothesline to finish drying completely. So because on the concrete, the lines were getting a little bit wobbly, so I just wanted it to naturally drape while that finished that last 10% of drying, just to kind of smooth out any of those kind of wavy lines that maybe were caused by me tugging and pulling on it on the concrete. So I'm very, very happy with how it turned out, and would highly recommend the pattern. And maybe with some different colors, I could totally see myself if it feels like a really good project that if you've just got 3 sock yarns that, 3 sock yarn skeins that you're like, I'm not quite sure what to do with this. This is a really good project for that. It's how I found myself casting it on. And it was just a really nice mindless knit. And I'm gonna have to cast something else on that is more of a mindless knit, because everything I'm working on right now is really requiring quite a lot of mental energy when I sit down to work on it. And that was the beautiful thing with this project, is I didn't really need to do that. I just needed to keep track of where I was in my pattern, and that was easy enough to do. I think it's time for me to cast on a very basic sweater or something in the round that I can, just the mindless knitting in the round project is very much like, I'm feeling very ready for that after this one. Everything else I have on the needles, as you guys know, it's just it's a little little bit special. It's got some special projects that I'm working on. So I'm sad that this one is over, but I'm very excited to pack it up and send it off to my girlfriend. I hope you all have enjoyed seeing the process of finishing up this very special knit. My friend is so knitworthy, and I really hope she receives this with so much love. And I'm just so excited to get it in the mail tomorrow. If you are enjoying following this journey of mine where I'm renovating this 100-year-old house that's been in my family for generations and making things and really getting back to growing and making things by hand, I would so appreciate you liking this video, subscribing, sharing with your crafty friends about my channel. That all means a lot to me and really helps fuel me showing up here and kind of opening my life and creative process up. I really wanted to inspire you to make something epic and beautiful for yourself or for a loved one. I love you guys so much. I will chat with you in the comments and see you in the next video. Bye.